Tim Adams down here at Nippert Stadium. We changed from Shakely, part of the practice at Shakely Athletic Center, and then over here to Nippert, we have linebacker coach Jeff Koonz. And Coach, you're a young guy. How old are you?
33 years old.
33 years old.
Yep.
But you've worked with some really good people in your coaching career. Kind of chronicle how you got started in different people and programs you've been with.
Well, it started with Coach Tuberville. Started with Coach Tuberville at Auburn back in 2000. Since we've already dated myself as an undergraduate, had a chance to learn my way up through the program there and work into a defensive graduate assistant role by the end of my undergraduate, into my grad school years, and got a chance to work with guys like John Lovett and Gene Chiswick, and a lot of really good position coaches that were good teachers on that staff. From there, after the undefeated 2004 season that Coach Tuberville had at Auburn, went with Coach Chiswick out to Texas. And that was the 2005 season, which we ended up winning the national championship. We had Vince Young, had a very good defense with a lot of guys that are still playing in the NFL, a lot of good defensive backs and D linemen and linebackers. Was there 2 years, finished up my master's degree at UT Austin, and worked with the linebackers there at Texas, and then went on to Iowa State, where I coached the safeties. And at that time, I was 24 and was real green, even greener than I am now, or more green, and was learning on the run a little bit at Iowa State. But we were there for 2 years, and we didn't have 2 highly successful years, but what we did was we built a future that they had a lot of success on after we left. From there, Coach Chiswick got the Auburn job, and I went back to Texas for a year. I had a chance to work with Will Muschamp as a defensive coordinator, back with Coach Mack Brown for my 3rd year and my 2nd stint, and we were able to go undefeated until the national championship game against Alabama that year. Pretty memorable game out in the Rose Bowl again, and came up 1 game short that year. So, but had a chance to learn under Coach Muschamp. Obviously, his defensive success, along with Coach Chiswick and Coach Tuberville, has been a great factor in my progress as a coach, both in the secondary and at linebacker. Left there, and then went on to Louisiana Tech, where I spent 4 years and kind of started my family, my wife, and had our first child in Ruston, Louisiana, and had a lot of success there at Louisiana Tech, and coached the linebackers there all 4 years until I got the call from Coach Tubbs about coming up to Cincinnati.
Well, as you had safeties last year, linebackers this year, so that was one of the concerns that people had coming into this year, because 2 guys, Jeff Luke and Temple, were gone. But the thing that I saw, and in talking with you in the offseason, you were very excited about the group you had, felt like you had great speed and great depth. So let's kind of look at some of these guys. I'll throw the names at you and tell you a little bit about them. Clemente Cassius.
Cassius is the epitome of a blue-collar guy, come-to-work guy, has earned everything he's received here at Cincinnati, has had the opportunity to learn over the years and gain some experience, and obviously a frustrating year for him last year, not being able to finish the season, but really a guy that's capitalized on his opportunity here as a 5th-year senior, as a senior in this group, and vocal leader, but also experienced in between the tackles, and I've been pleased with him too, with his progress in the passing game. I think that's something that we identified early on, and he's done a really good job in taking it to heart. And he's a guy that, there's no doubt, he's got explosive power inside, and I know you've spoken with him a couple times here in the off-season, but he's a guy that's got the size and the tools that you need inside. So, but the thing I'm proudest about Clemente is his work ethic and what he's done to earn this spot and to take over this role, like you said, that Jeff left.
I think he plays with a little bit of nasty.
There's no doubt, and a chip on his shoulder. Yeah. He's a guy that, and as a room, we've kind of embraced the fact 2 really good Bearcats left between Nick and Jeff. 2 really good Bearcats left, and the challenge is on us to live up to a standard, and we're trying to raise the standard, and those guys have done a good job as a whole.
We have the other guy running with him is Eric Wilson, a transfer from Northwestern, who is a safety converted to the linebacker position. Yeah,
we were talking about that. Athletically, and Coach Tuberville's made a lot of statements about the speed and recruiting speed and making sure that we can cover 53 yards width from sideline to sideline. Eric's a guy that can do that. The thing that I've been pleased with Eric is becoming a 1st and 10 linebacker, the same as a 3rd and 8 linebacker, and really emphasizing his box presence. And when you make a transition from safety down to the box, that's something that you got to learn. But he's embraced that. His body has transformed. The work he's done with Joe Walker and his staff, he's really improved, and I'm excited about what he can do, especially with 2 years left.
Another guy that I'm really excited about is Antonio Canard, another safety, making that move closer, but he's got a lot bigger. He's your tallest guy.
Yes.
He runs well.
Yeah, he is. And again, tall guys don't always make them better guys, even though they're tall. I mean, TK's a guy that he is 6'3 plus, but he can bend. And if those guys can bend, that means they can sink their hips. That means they can explode. And TK can do that. And he's improved in that since he's gotten here from the spring. Guy that, thank goodness, we had him mid-year, and he got the full 15 practices this spring. Done a great job of the transition from day 15 of spring to day 1 of camp, and now we're in whatever day we're in now. It's all the same. It feels like day 20, whatever. But he's improved his size. He's gained the weight, which we knew he would in recruiting him and when Steve recruited him. But again, learning the day in, day out of the will position and being in the box versus out of the box, the length is going to help him. But I'm proud of, again, him and the transition from playing as only an out-of-the-box guy and playing some A-gap, playing some B-gap. Got to continue to get better on some fits and things inside, but it's night and day comparison to where he was in spring.
And he's a guy that I think another year in this program with the experience of game this year will add another 15 to 20 pounds probably.
Yeah, very easily could. And I tell him, hey, more weight, the better. Better not lose a step of speed, though. Right. So, but he's definitely, his frame, the sky's the limit with him. And he is really getting excited about his progress. And he's a guy that every day it's one thing, wow, that clicks. And he's a guy that definitely every day another switch clicks and you just see a progression. So I'm pleased so far.
Kevin Brown, another safety moving up to the linebacker position.
No doubt. Speed, moving from safety down to nickel last year, played a lot of snaps for us at the nickel position last year. There's some carryover to the will, which is what he played this spring, and now he's playing Mike backer. And he's done a great job. He gained the weight. Again, another guy that body type-wise has the frame, has the explosiveness, and is not a short guy, 6'2 plus guy. But the thing about Kevin is because he has been not just from a DB down, he's been in this program, he's been here, going Steve Clinkscale's 3rd year. There's been a lot of carryover from the last couple of years, and he's a guy that mentally just really understands where all the parts go. So it's been a real easy transition for him moving inside. Vocal guy, understands what we need to get done inside and making the front calls and the checks, and has improved in his box skills over camp. So, athletically, no brainer, but has really come along in the box as well.
Another guy you're really excited about, and he has a big-time body, is Jalen Minor.
Yeah. I mean, and you look through all these guys. We're on our 5th guy now. Jalen's a guy that wish I could have had him in the spring, but we've got an extra year with him, so we're excited about getting him here and having an extra year.
3 years.
He's got 3 years. Yep, that's right. So, but he's kind of learning on the run right now this summer in this camp. But a guy that same thing. First 2 weeks, head was probably spinning a little bit with not just the defense, but the tempo and how fast everything happens at this level coming from junior college in Texas. But again, this week, every day, one more thing, got down a little better. Physically, very strong, very explosive. Trying to get him in shape because he wasn't able to be here all summer and all spring with Coach Walker. But every day he's getting a little bit better with that. And like I said, to have him for 3 years, I'm excited about where we're going.
Another guy, local guy, was a walk-on, earned a scholarship, Kevin Highland.
Kevin Highland, man, the seasoned vet. And, and I know, Kevin Highland's a guy that bleeds red and black, and I mean that because he's a Cincinnati product. It means something for him. It means something for all the guys, but what a pride that he has, and he takes that into the room every day, into the meeting room. He's always the first one to ask questions and does a great job of responding, giving answers, and on the field understands he's a guy that can play both Will and Mike. Has played both positions in his time here, and kind of the steady Freddy, where he's just a dependable guy, going to be a special teams leader for us, and I'm really proud of what he's done over his entire career here at Cincinnati, and I know he wants to finish this thing on a high note.
One more guy, Matt Draper, a freshman, probably red shirt, but a guy that has a chance to see the field is Bryce Jacobs. Yeah,
and Bryce, early enrollee, high school senior that basically said, this spring I'm not going to chance senioritis. I'm going to go ahead and get to Cincinnati. I graduated early, brought in a ton of hours, and is doing great in school, and had the luxury of having 15 practices this spring, playing middle linebacker, and I think his head was definitely spinning early on. But I'll tell you what, I talked about TK going from day 15 to day 1 and that huge progress. Bryce Jenkinson that much, and maybe even more so, and been really happy with how he raised his game physically. Definitely sometimes, even though he's a big, explosive guy, he got in the hole with Tion Green and some of those bigger backs this spring, and I think it was a little bit different animal than he had seen. And this fall in the camp, really has risen his game up in that regard and has shown his physicality in the box. So we're excited about him, and he's definitely put himself in a position to continue to show that he understands what he's got to do, because at the end of the day, he's got to know not just the defense, but the adjustments. And that's where it can be hard for a younger guy, whereas the older guy. But we'd love to see him get some action here early on and see where the chips may fall.
Well, we packed a lot of information in that 7 minutes or so. Thanks so much, Coach.
Got a lot of guys.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you very much, Tim. Appreciate all you do for us.